Never mistake silence for control when you are not the one being feared. Silence is power only when your absence creates anxiety. If your absence creates opportunity, you have not withdrawn, you have surrendered. The room does not miss you. It reorganizes around you and forgets you were ever sitting there. Audit who holds the narrative before you stop speaking. When you go dark, someone else will narrate your darkness for you. They will call it arrogance, cowardice, or indifference, and the group will believe whichever story arrives first. Silence only works when you have already poisoned every alternative interpretation. Confirm the stakes before you weaponize absence. You calculated that 3 days of silence would make them scramble. They did scramble. To plan a party you will never attend. Your leverage was real, but your target was a celebration, not a negotiation. You held a knife to a cake and called it strategy. Never deploy power where affection was the expected currency. Friends do not respond to withdrawal with longing. They respond with hurt, then anger, then replacement. You applied a seduction tactic to a bond that ran on warmth, and warmth does not negotiate. It simply leaves and closes the door behind it. Study the ecosystem before you disturb it. A group chat is not a chessboard. It is a living organism with its own immune response. When you introduce coldness, the organism does not chase you. It identifies you as a pathogen and builds antibodies. You are now the thing they talk about when you are not there and not in the way you intended. Recognize the difference between being awaited and being replaced. The truly powerful are met with silence on the other end, a silence of anticipation. You were met with typing bubbles that eventually stopped, then a new name in the chat, then a photo of the venue without you. Anticipation and replacement look identical for the first 6 hours. After that, only one survives. Never let a framework override the room in front of you. You read that silence project's dominance, so you swallowed it whole and applied it like paint. But law without context is just arrogance with a bibliography. The room was not a battlefield, it was a kitchen, and your friends were making plans that included your name, and you erased yourself from the list and called it power. Understand that every manipulation carries a hidden fee. You wanted them to wonder where you went. They did wonder, for about 2 hours. Then they wondered why they ever included someone who would vanish without a word. The fee for your 3-day performance was not attention. It was the quiet, irreversible decision that you are not worth the anxiety. Know when your leverage has already expired. By day 2, they had moved on. By day 3, they had a venue, a guest list, and a joke about your absence. When you finally returned with your measured, deliberate reply, you were not met with relief. You were met with a red receipt and a conversation that had continued for 47 messages without your name in it once. Accept that some silences are confessions, not tactics. You told yourself you were withholding to create power, but the truth is you were hiding because presence requires vulnerability, and vulnerability feels like losing. Your silence was never strategic. It was fear wearing a suit and quoting laws it found on a screen at 2 in the morning. Burn the playbook when the people are real. Dark psychology was designed for adversaries, markets, and strangers who would take from you if given the chance. Your friends were never going to take from you, they were going to give. And you treated a gift like an attack because your framework has no category for generosity that does not want something in return. Remember that the group chat does not miss the man who went quiet. It learned to speak without him. You opened with silence because a law told you it was power. You returned to find that power was never the point. The point was that they loved you enough to plan a surprise, and you turned that love into a negotiation you lost before you knew the terms existed. The law did not fail you. You failed to read the room, and the room has moved on. The next message you send will land in a chat that has already grieved your absence and decided it was lighter without you. That is not power. That is the coup.